Hi, hello. Today I'll be reading Deuteronomy 15 and 16, and I'll also be reading Psalm 58 for the one story that leads to Jesus Bible reading plan. How does a person rest like God rest? In today's reading, Moses reviews key Sabbath and festival commands that build divine rest into Israel's calendar. These instructions show that God's rest includes much more than avoiding labor. For Yahweh, genuine rest compels his people to pursue generosity, freedom, and justice towards all. Once settled in the Promised Land, each year is to start with Passover. The Israelites will roast lamb and break unleavened bread together, not only remembering the night God rescued them from slavery, but also how he kept them from entering back into bondage. Israel continues to share in that moment year after year, and that's not all. As the video explains, the Hebrew word for remember, zakar, often refers to attention that expires or inspires action, which is exactly what we find in today's reading. In memory of their life in bondage, the Israelites must set their slaves free every 7 years. Several months after Passover, the harvest festival comes, where the people spend 7 weeks reaping grain from the fields. Then comes the Feast of Weeks, where the people gather to celebrate God's generous provision. And then every seventh year, the Israelites will show the same generosity to others by canceling all debts throughout the land. Yahweh's rest creates a radical new community, one that intends to end grinding poverty, snowballing debt, and dehumanizing slavery. When God's people embrace the way of Sabbath rest according to God's instruction, the result is joy and blessing for everyone.
Zachar. I will zachar the deeds of the Lord. The Hebrew word zachar is often translated remember. That is, calling something to mind or not forgetting. Joseph has a dream about his brothers bowing down to him. And years later, when it actually happens, Joseph is said to zachar his dream. He is recalling something he'd forgotten. But zachar is often more than just remembering. Zachar is also focusing your attention on something in order to act. When God commands Israel to zachar the Sabbath, it's not because they might forget about what the Sabbath is. Zachar means keeping the meaning of the Sabbath at the forefront of your mind in order to keep the Sabbath. And in the story of Noah and the flood, when God remembers Noah and the animals, it's not that God had forgotten them. Rather, God's zachar is acting on a promise to save them. God heard their groaning, and God zachar his covenant with Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob.
All right, Deuteronomy chapter 15, the sabbatical year. At the end of every 7 years, you shall grant a release, and this is the manner of the release. Every creditor shall release what he has lent to his neighbor. He shall not exact it of his neighbor, his brother, because the Lord's release has been proclaimed. Of a foreigner you may exact it, but whatever of yours is with your brother, your hand shall release. But there will be no poor among you, for the Lord will bless you in the land that the Lord your God is giving you for an inheritance to possess. If only you will strictly obey the voice of the Lord your God, being careful to do all this commandment that I command you today. For the Lord your God will bless you as he promised you, and you shall lend to many nations, but you shall not borrow, and you shall rule over many nations, but they shall not rule over you. If among you one of your brothers should become poor in any of your towns within your land that the Lord your God is giving you, you shall not harden your heart or shut your hand against your poor brother, but you shall open your hand to him and lend him sufficient for his need, whatever it may be. Take care lest there's an ant. Where was I? Take care lest there be an unworthy thought in your heart, and you say, the seventh year, the year of release, is near, and your eye look grudgingly on your poor brother, and you give him nothing, and he cry to the Lord against you, and you be guilty of sin. You shall give to him freely, and your heart shall not be grudging when you give to him, because for this the Lord your God will bless you in all your work and in all you undertake. For there will never cease to be poor in this or in the land. Therefore I command you, you shall open wide your hand to your brother, to the needy and to the poor in your land. If your brother, a Hebrew man or a Hebrew woman, is sold to you, he shall serve you 6 years, and in the seventh year you shall let him go free from you. And when you let him go free from you, you shall not let him go empty handed. You shall furnish him liberally out of your flock, out of your threshing floor, and out of your winepress. And the Lord your God has blessed you, you shall give to him. You shall remember that you were a slave in the land of Egypt, and the Lord your God redeemed you. Therefore I command you this today. But if he says to you, I will not go out from you, because he loves you and your household, since he is well off with you, then you shall take an awl and put it through his ear into the door, and he shall be your slave forever. And to your female slave you shall do the same. It shall not seem hard to you when you let him go free from you, for at half the cost of a hired worker he has served you 6 years. So the Lord your God will bless you in all you do. All the firstborn males that are born of your herd and flock you shall dedicate to the Lord your God. You shall do no work with the firstborn of your herd, nor shear the firstborn of your flock. You shall eat it, you and your household, before the Lord your God, year by year at the place that the Lord will choose. But if it has any blemish, if it is lame or blind or has any serious blemish, whatever, you shall not sacrifice it to the Lord your God. You shall eat it within your towns. The unclean and the clean alike may eat it, as though it were a gazelle or a deer. Only you shall not eat its blood. You shall pour it out on the ground like water. All right, Deuteronomy chapter 16, Passover. But before I get to that, let me drink some water. All right, Passover. Observe the month of Abib and keep your Passover to the Lord your God. For in the month of Abib, your Lord your God brought you out of Egypt by night. And you shall offer the Passover sacrifice to the Lord your God from the flock or the herd at the place that the Lord will choose, to make his name dwell there. You shall eat no leavened bread with it. 7 days you shall eat it with unleavened bread and bread of affliction, for you have come of the land of Egypt in haste. Oh, I have some gas. uh, that all the days of your life you may remember the day when you came out of the land of Egypt. No leaven shall be seen with you in all your territory for 7 days, nor shall any of the flesh you that you sacrifice on the evening of the first day remain all night until morning. You may not offer the Passover sacrifice within any of your towns, but the Lord your God is giving you. But at the place that your Lord, or at the place that the Lord your God will choose to make his name dwell in it, there you shall offer the Passover sacrifice in the evening at sunset, at the time you came out of Egypt, and you shall cook it and eat it at the place that the Lord your God will choose. And in the morning you shall turn and go to your tents. For 6 days you shall eat unleavened bread, and on the seventh day there shall be a solemn assembly to the Lord your God. You shall do no work on it. The Feast of Weeks. You shall count 7 weeks. Begin to count the 7 weeks from the time the sickle is first put to the standing grain. Then you shall keep the Feast of Weeks to the Lord your God with the tribute of a freewill offering from your hand, which you shall give as the Lord your God blesses you. And you shall rejoice before the Lord your God, and you and your son and your daughter, your male servant and your female servant, the Levite who is within your towns, the sojourner, the fatherless, and the widow who are among you, at the place that the Lord your God will choose to make his name dwell there. You shall remember that you were a slave in Egypt, and you shall be careful to observe these statutes. The Feast of Booths. You shall keep the Feast of Booths 7 days, when you have gathered in the produce from your threshing floor and your winepress. You shall rejoice in your feast, you and your son and your daughter, your male servant and your female servant, the Levite, the sojourner, the fatherless, and the widow who are within your towns. For 7 days you shall keep the feast to the Lord your God at the place that the Lord will choose, because the Lord your God will bless you in all your produce and in all the work of your hands, so that you will be altogether joyful. 3 times a year all your male shall appear before the Lord your God at the place that he will choose, at the feast of unleavened bread, at the feast of weeks, at the feast of booths. They shall not appear before the Lord empty handed. Every man shall give as he is able, according to the blessing of the Lord your God that he has given you. Justice. You shall appoint judges and officers in your towns that the Lord your God is giving you, according to your tribes, and they shall judge the people with righteous judgment. You shall not pervert justice, you shall not show partiality, and you shall not accept a bribe, for a bribe blinds the eyes of the wise and subverts the cause of the righteous. Justice and only justice you shall follow, and that you may live and inherit the land that your Lord your God is giving you. Forbidden forms of worship. You shall not plant any tree as an Asherah because or beside the altar of the Lord your God that you shall make, and you shall not set up a pillar which the Lord your God hates. All right, moving on to Psalm 58. All right. God who judges the earth. To the choir master, according to Do Not Destroy, a miktam of David. Do you indeed decree that, or what is right, you gods? Do you judge the children of man uprightly? No, in the hearts you devise wrongs. Your heart deals out of violence on earth. The wicked are estranged from the womb. They go astray from birth, leaving lies. They have venom like the venom of a serpent, like the adder. That's like sounds like the mouse I used to have, like the death adder that stops its ear, so that it does not hear the voice of charmers or of the cunning enchanter. O God, break the teeth of their mouths, tear out the fangs of the young lions. O Lord, let them vanish like water that runs away. When he aims his arrow, let him be blunted. Let them be like snail that dissolves into slime, like the stillborn child who never sees the sun. Sooner than your pots can feel the heat of thorns, whether green or ablaze, may he sweep them away. The righteous will rejoice when he sees the vengeance. He will bathe his feet in the blood of the wicked. Mankind will say, surely there is a reward for the righteous. Surely there is a God who judges on earth. All right, that's it for day 58 of the one story that leads to Jesus Bible reading plan. Cheers.